Welcome back to On the Nose, a podcast where myself and Thad Taylor look back on the movement of money over the previous weekend for the main domestic thoroughbred meetings. And Thad, welcome back again. Overall?
A winning day. Not a huge winning day, but a winning day for the TAB as opposed to a couple of weeks ago. But look, ups and downs, as we'll get to those. I mean, wasn't a one-way traffic, let's put it that way, but a few pivotal results. I mean, that the TAB managed to come out with the win, even though Tiako had 4 winners up there at Matamata.
Usually when that happens, usually when Tiako have 3 or more winners at a meeting, that's not the best sign for us.
No, generally not a great recipe. That'd be fair to be said. And there weren't the results on the day for Tiako, which we'll touch on, weren't great. But just a couple of other races among it meant we could get out with a win at both venues, albeit not huge money.
Okay, before we head up north to Matamata, there was a meeting down in Invercargill at Ascot Park. It was Southland Guineas Day. It was Invercargill Gold Cup Day. So let's start with race 1. And what was it? XA? XA. Well, let's go XA. Look, coming out of Guineas races, and quite often there's good value in backing, and these horses coming back out of age grade 2 maidens and the like, back to the sort of 65s and maidens. And that was the case with XA. But we opened short at 3.4. and drifted to 4.4. Now, those with a keen eye will notice a bit of a theme down south at the moment, and we'll touch on it. Let's start. Robert Dennis in the Bright One. Robert Dennis at the moment's got a lot of support on his runners. There's good support for the Bright One. That was minus 30. And the other theme you may notice was around Gaelic Hooley. Had a certain anything to do with the jockey?
Very good, Paul. You've been paying attention. Gaelic Hooley was 14 into $6.50. And that was the worst way for the TAB. That was around minus 35. Look, Gaelic Hooley not on it. The Bright One finishing third, and the XA was, even though we opened at favourite, drifted to 4.4, and it was a plus 25 to start the day down at Invercargill.
Race 2, we move on, and it looked like the punters were spreading their money far and wide here.
Yeah, fair to be said. We lost a couple of key scratchings in the race. Pulled the pin, Perfect California. So even though Bonsai Bob, who was the winners for a 6 into 480 on paper, probably not a huge move for Bonsai Bob. There was a move though. Trainer Robert Dennis, he had 2 in the race, to be fair. The Ocean Heart was one of them, and that was well back, 650 into 480, and that was a losing result. But the other one, Naked Spirit, Billy Jacobson, was 16 into $4. So there's 2 there that they did like. Arctic Ocean was a losing result there, number 12. And Razorwake was also a losing result, but it was all about Naked Spirit. Massive move, 16 into 4. Mark it down is my advice. We always talk about it. Mark these big movers down, and you can potentially make some money down the track. But Bonsai Bob, look, it was relatively well back, so it was only a small win. But due to the money for the Robert Dennis train runners there, both of them, the Ocean Heart and Naked Spirit, meant that was a small win for the TAB there.
I've already written it down, but Naked Spirit next start. I'll be having a little go myself. Yep. We move on to the next race where Monaghan Boy got home.
Yeah, and there was a mover. That was a mover last start, Monaghan Boy. It was around 550 all the way in race number 3. And what was a steady market, the prices didn't really move too much here. Addictive Passion was the worst way. It was minus 25. And there was some long shot money for the 1 here in Tiger Fire. Now, I don't know if that's the team.
That jockey again?
Well, potentially. Exactly, potentially at jockey. But look, better known as a stayer, Tiger Fire. So potentially they think is in for a good preparation because was 21, sort of 27 back into 21, was a losing result. So potentially they've got the horse in the right sort of form there, Tiger Fire, to win when it gets up over ground. So keep an eye on Tiger Fire would be my advice. But yeah, steady market, plus 20 for Monaghan Boy, who was a mover, quite a significant mover at the start prior, didn't get the job done and came out and did it here. So plus 20 odd around Monaghan Boy in a pretty steady, static market.
Race 4, we've got a drifter, the Good Shepherd, who got up and paid double digits in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Where was 11.40 on the tote? We were 6.50 out to 9. You'll see the theme and continue here. The Radiant one was 4.40 into $3. That was a losing result, but the worst way was another mover.
Chicky?
Ridden by Tina Komanyagi, exactly. $4 into $3 there. That was the worst way for the Tiabi, minus 40,000. It's a horse that's caused some headaches in the past, has Tiki, to be fair. And then you throw Tina on board. To just nice fourth. I'd be following Tiki, getting ready for a win. La Ballanera was also a losing result in the race, but due to the money for Tiki and the Radiant one, the Good Shepherd was plus 30, $6.50 out to $9.
I get the feeling the next race was also good for the bookies. Another drifter, Quick Call, out of the, is it Kelvin Tyler barn?
Yeah, it's unusual for a Kelvin Tyler runner to be 9 out to 17 and win, which it was. So it was plus 30,000 for the TAB. A couple of moves here. Tommy Perfect, who led them up into the straight. That was minus 30,000. X-rated was the worst way, trained by Robert Dennis.
Our good friend.
Yeah, exactly. And that was minus 75,000, even though it was $5 out to $7.50. Customers are really gravitating towards Robert Dennis. So that was the worst way for the TAB. And Float was $27 into $11 and all but got them. Ridden by
a definite theme here, yes.
Exactly. Tina Komanyagi, but it was actually a good run from Float, just run down late by Quick Call, which we needed to happen because that was minus 30,000 as well around Float. So, yeah, they were all around it there, to be fair, but Quick Call got us out of jail plus 30.
Race 6, Punter Strike Back, Noble Knight.
Yeah, rock solid Noble Knight, deserved a win like this. It was a small loss for the TAB, minus 15,000. Stolen Magic, trained by Robert Dennis, minus 40. It didn't feature in the numbers, but there was good money for that runner. Stolen Magic, and the big move was for Smooth Operator.
Yes.
Sade fans rejoice. Well, almost rejoice. Not rejoice, I suppose. It was
not with that rendition.
No, exactly. Got to work on that. 10 into $4. Building to a win. We won them in a row and then it ran a third and there was money for it last time. Didn't yelp, finishing its building to a win. And if you see the runner, Smooth Operator, it sort of got caught back down on the fence. Tina only could extract it late. Absolutely savaged the line. That was minus 50,000. So they nearly got it right with Smooth Operator. Another one I'd be marking down as a next up winner down there. I think there's potentially a few out of this meeting, but Smooth Operator is certainly one of them. A Noble Knight, 450 out to 5, was still a losing result, but yeah, the story was probably Smooth Operator, and it was a bit unlucky.
Okay, Thad, Southland Guineas time here, and yeah, boy, oh boy, she's good, this filly.
Yeah.
She's very, very good. It'll be very interesting to see what they do. Now, will they find a slot? Do they find a slot?
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love Pivotal 10 to get into the Kiwi. It'd add some real interest if the Southern filly could find a slot there. It'd just be a really nice angle for the race to have a filly like that. And she absolutely brained them. We don't have to spend too much time on this from a punting perspective. She was a
bookies had a fairly short to begin with.
They did. Again, there's been a bit of a theme with some of these horses lately. We think they're short and they're not short enough, but because it was so short, I mean, it was a sort of a small loss. There wasn't much else to speak of outside it, even though it was $1.70 into $1.35 or $1.40 at the close. There was some money for Lily in the race, and there was also some money for Freddie Time, 10 into $8.50 for Lily, 21 into 15 for Free Time, and they both ran relatively well, but they were chasing a dream with Pivotal 10 and onwards and upwards wherever she goes. I hope she heads up north, and yeah, it would just be fun to see her in the Kiwi with bring a different angle. But yeah, I don't have a slot, Paul, unfortunately. I don't hold I'm not a slot holder.
Right.
You wouldn't believe.
Well, we'll work on that.
Yeah, that's something for the next year, yeah.
Race 8 and Tough Time got home. Did attract a wee bit of attention from punters.
Yeah, it did. It was sort of hovering around $8.59, $10, I think closed 10, but was well backed. Minus 10,000 here. So customers sort of finished relatively well here at Invercargill, Noble Knight, Pivotal 10, Tough Call. We had a double whammy in this race. We had Tina Komanyagi riding a runner for Robert Dennis.
Wow, so I'm guessing a significant loss.
Minus 80,000 for Lucy N. Pete's Pride So money at odds ran fourth. It was out at 20-1. It was a losing result for the TAB. It's nice to sort of mark those ones down as well. If they're backing long shots and they run quite good races, you can probably assume the horse is going reasonably well. So Pete's Pride gets into the right race, I'd be paying attention. But yeah, the double whammy, Lucien, 8 into $3.30. Tough call, was well supported, -10.
Get out stakes, last one of the day down at Ascot Park, and Bill Thurlow and Steal My Thunder. Wrap it all up.
You're going to give yourself a wrap? Come on.
I'm happy with how Steal My Thunder went. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Your bet of the day, Paul Moati. Luckily, no one was listening. -$10,000. It was a loss.
Maybe they were listening.
It was a loss. It was a loss. Steal My Thunder, but yeah, there was excellent money for the horses. They nearly had us here with the horses that finished second and third. Trey Bond was -80,000, and that's a horse that's often extremely well back, but did run very well, -80. And Cheney is coming off a win into this, 19 into 13, and that was -30, and finished in the money, I believe, as well. So, yeah, they nearly had us there. Well, they did to a degree, because Steal My Thunder wasn't a win. It was -10,000. But yeah, Trayvon and Cheney were the worst ways for the TAB there, and a good day down south.
So a good day overall for the bookies down at Ascot Park?
Yeah, relatively speaking. Yeah, we were flying. We were going well, and then they managed to claw a bit back. It was probably plus around 80,000 down there in Invercargill, all told. So yeah, as I say, it was a good battle down south. Let's say that.
Okay, we head up north now to Matamata, and oh boy, we'll start with race one. And they came for one here, didn't they? Was it Amaya Star?
Yeah.
Who couldn't quite get the job done?
No, it was a good run, and sort of, yeah, getting home strong enough for second with Cypher. They were both finishing hard, but the bird had flown with Machino. There was some good early money for Machino. We talk about the early money, mark it down. It was around $6 into $5. Got back to $5.50. But because of all the money for Amaya Star, which was -40,000, Enforcer Law was the other one. We opened around 16, got out to 27, and then came tumbling back in. That was the worst way for the TAB. In fact, Force of Law -100,000. So much like Pete's Pride, mark down these long shot runners potentially that are losing results. They can pay dividends later on. But Machino was a winning start, +80,000.
Race 2, Beast of Burden, Chad Ormsby. Look, just by looking at the odds and the divvies, I'm saying a good result for the bookies?
Yeah, it was. We opened $19.
So there was support there?
Yeah, there was, and it was that early money again. Right. So we were 19 on Wednesday night. We were 14 by Thursday morning. And that tells you probably what you need to know around Beast of Burden. Won well, too, to be fair. Foxglove's costly. Getting costly for customers now.
There are a few customers.
Yes, there is one we know very well.
Very well, yes.
Yeah, and one Brendan Popperwell. -40,000 looking. Carretti was the mover late 4 into 310, -10,000. But because of that early move, we talk about getting knocked into shape if we've got a price wrong early. That was the case with Beast of Burden. And then obviously the money came for the favourites late, which meant we were +38,000 on Beast of Burden.
Right, we head to the Group 3 Fairview Matamata Slipper. And Come Tiako.
Yeah, Come Tiako, all right. They run the trifecta, so no mean feat there, but we're sort of used to them doing that in these 2-year-old races, particularly at Matamata on this day. They're just potentially dominant, and they have a exciting colt, let's be honest. Just he does enough. Return to conquer.
Well, that's all you have to do.
Exactly. And he might be one of those horses that just does enough to get to and whatever comes at him, he just finds a little bit more, more.
I'll do that extra.
Yeah, exactly. Look, he was $1.60 into $1.45. He was -23,000. He had about 75 to 80% of the hold, which sort of means he was backed as he was an equivalent of a sort of $1.33 chance. So let's say you got a spoil at $1.60. There was probably a little bit of juice in the orange there around Return to Concord. Interestingly, out of the race, there was more money on Who Dares Wins than to Bravery Born. And Who Dares Wins ran a very good race.
He Who Dares?
He Who Dares. Thank you, Paul. Yeah. He Who Dares. Yeah, feel free to correct me when I stuff things up. He Who Dares. I've written Who Dares Wins down on my page, so I was thinking of that Mike Whitney show back in the 90s. He Who Dares. More money on He Who Dares than to Bravery Born. So that is interesting going forward because it does look progressive, He Who Dares. But the story's all around the favourite and extremely well back, -25,000.
Okay, race 4, and we've got a Tiaco runner paying double digits. Balance of power.
Yeah. Unusual.
How does that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. Saved us, which is unusual. $7.50 out to $11 and paid $15 on tote. So, look, because it's a Tiaco runner, there were better results in the race. There's always a sprinting for them, even when they are on the drift to a degree. So, as I say, I'm not complaining. The TAB were to the good of 25,000. King of the North was time for the O'Sullivan Scott money to arrive, and it did. I ran a good race for second, 480 into 420. That was minus 70,000. And Unequivocal was backed again, $7.50 into $5. Didn't run badly, but it meant that balance of power was plus 25.
We move on. Nakoni County. You mentioned Nakoni County, I think, a couple of episodes ago, just for one to look out for, and yeah, you were on the money.
Yeah. It was the run was good, but then the money came in at long odds, and we've been talking about these long odds runners that have been backed and then running very well at the next start. This was one of them. It was 21 into 15 at Ellerslie 2 starts ago, and we did mention that the run was good and the money was there. Watch out for it next time. It was opened at $14. It closed at $10. But again, they weren't listening to me either, to be fair, because our first dance was the worst result, I'd say, almost on the day. And it was green down the straight and ran a huge race. So there's obviously plenty of ability around first dance, 4 into 350, minus 150,000. And Strange Love, who led them up and ran a heck of a race with a sort of an indifferent form line for the Mackay team there, was 27 into 11. That ran second. So they nearly got the money there, but Nakoni County, 14 into 10, the late move again, and we saw the late move at Ellerslie, we saw the late move again, and this time Nakoni County won, but plus 60.
Race 6, the Lisa Chittick Champagne Stakes for the fillies and mares, and, well, what do we say about this one, Legato? Drifted and then came back in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, drifted and came back in. There's a bit of a theme, potentially. The marketplace was sort of saying she's vulnerable, 11 months off the scene, first up over 1,400. And then in the marketplace sort of said she's a class horse. She's done this before. She'll do it again. And she duly saluted. So there was enough money on her, even though she was 260 out to 310 and maybe back to 290, somewhere around there. She was minus 60. Movers here. Frost Fair was 23 into 11, ran well. And Irish Legacy sort of had no luck down on the inside. That was a mover again, $7.50 into $5, but it's all about the Great Mare's return there. And she was a losing result. She was minus 60,000, Legato.
On to the J-Swap Contractors Matamata Breeders Stakes for the 2-year-old fillies. And, well, she did it again. She did it on Karaka Million Night, and she did it again. She looked very, very good doing it. La Dorada and the Tangerine Army.
Yeah, exactly. Here they go again. 3 of the first 4. La Dorada, professional, got the job done. It was $1.85 out to $1.95, back to $1.85. But, the price was sort of pretty much bang on in this market, to be fair. And the money was quite balanced, sort of holding 50% of the money in a race where she should be holding at least 50% of the money meant it wasn't a terrible result. It was a small loss. Interesting money around the horse that finished third, Born to Be Royal, finished over the top of the stablemate Maricopa Falls, and was the worst way for the TAB, minus 100,000. Now, the money doesn't go on for no reason. Sound like a broken record, Paul, but that's what this show's about, to be fair. $19 into $15, minus 100,000, and ran a nice third. So going forward, I'd be keeping an eye very closely on Born to Be Royal. And Angel's Brew moved a little bit as well. First starter. Yeah. Pam Gerard, 23 into 16. So to shorten in a race like that as a first starter, just be keeping tabs on Angel's Brew as well, wherever it goes. But, yeah, another favourite. Good for multiplayers, minus 10,000, a small loss.
But race 8, Tiaco to the 4 again. What you wish for?
Yes, good win. 850 into 650, so well backed. It was another small loss. It would have been worse had it not been for Locanora, who it took a lot of money again, let's be honest. It was minus 70,000. And Lingjing Zhongfeng was given a decent chance at odds. It was out there around 20 to 1, but that was also minus 70,000. But, yeah, they got it right to a degree with what you wish for. 850 to 650, small loss.
And the final of the day, Desert Mystic. Punters get out of jail here?
Yeah, they did. I thought it was going to be worse, and what saved us here, it was trained by Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott, but so was the opening favourite, which was Moss and Vader, who was $3.30 and very well backed, but got out to $4.50 late as the money came for Desert Mystic. So the money was the O'Sullivan Scott money was almost split, dollar for dollar almost, but certainly early on it was all Moss and Vader, and then late in proceedings, Desert Mystic was the big shortener. So it meant the result wasn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse. Normally, you see Lance O'Sullivan, Andrew Scott 6 into 380 in the last race, Paul, you'd be thinking one thing.
Great for punters.
Yeah, exactly. It was the case to a degree, but certainly we were saved by Moss and Vader, and also Bridal Train. That's another Alan Sherrick runner that was well backed, and there was good money for Sorgatani as well. That was also a losing result, but could have been a lot worse. Desert Mystic didn't look good on paper, but minus around 15,000.
Okay, Thad. So overall, up at Matamata, a slight victory to the bookies?
Yeah, it was. Machino, Beast of Burden, 120,000 there. Balance of Power was up to 150, and then we were up to 100 and sort of 200 odd on Nakoni County. Then it started to get reeled back in. Legato, Lada Rada, What You Wish For, Desert Mystic, and it returned to Conquer as well. So, it was probably around the low hundreds in the end, low $100,000 for Matamata. So, roughly a $200,000 day for the fixed odds win books for the TAB that domestic Saturday, Paul.
Rightio, that does it for another episode of On the Nose. Of course, we've got Ellerslie coming up this week with the Otaki Māori Classic, the Group 1.
Yes.
Up there, and of course, Avondale Cup Day and the Guineas as well. So there's plenty to look forward to.
Yeah, that is. We're getting close. We're getting close to a Kiwi, Paul. We're getting remarkably close. You can almost taste it.
Champions Day.
Champions Day.
Yeah, 4
course.
Group 1s.
Yeah.
The slot race, $3.5 million slot race.
Yep.
Plenty to look forward to. So come back next time where we have another little review of what happened money-wise for our major thoroughbred domestic meetings.